Alright, hello everybody. Friendly Red here, and welcome back to Red's Radar. We're in the heat of summer now, and thus, big new game releases have slowed down quite a bit. In fact, there are really only 4 titles on my radar for July, meaning that this will end up being the shortest Red's Radar to date. While the quantity of releases may be small, the quality certainly isn't, and that much I can assure you of. I suppose it would be best to move on to the actual discussion, so without further delay, here are the games I'm looking forward to in July of 2024. We start this month off with quite a bang, as on July 2nd, the next expansion for Final Fantasy XIV releases, that being Dawntrail. Final Fantasy XIV is my most played game on Steam, and even after 1200 plus hours, it remains a joy to play. However, due to the sheer amount of huge game releases that occurred last year, I didn't really put a whole lot of time into it, so my relative absence from the game, combined with a new expansion releasing, and it being the start of a whole new story arc, means my excitement for the game is at an all-time high. And hey, there's a lot more to look forward to with Dawntrail aside from the usual new regions and story stuff. As with this expansion, we're finally getting playable female Hrothgar, 2 new classes in the form of Viper, a dual sword-wielding melee class, and Pictomancer, a new magical class that infuses art with magic to bring paintings to life and decimate their foes. And of course, probably one of the most exciting aspects is the graphics update, which is looking to subtly add quite a bit to the game and clean up some of the outdated aspects of Final Fantasy XIV that still linger on from its early days on PS3. There's always a ton of new things added into any MMO when a new expansion drops, but Dawntrail really is looking to be a step above what we're usually used to. It's an exciting time for 14 players, and I personally can't wait to delve into the new story, try out what will be my main new class, Pictomancer, and get into the in-game fashion scene, as the expansion will be gracing us with 2 dye slots for gear, as well as a new separate slot for glasses, meaning we can now wear spectacles and hats, rather than one or the other. Here's hoping the servers can handle us all, and to any fellow warriors of light out there, I hope you enjoy your adventures on the Dawntrail. The Dawntrail expansion for Final Fantasy XIV will be releasing on Tuesday, July 2nd, for PS4, PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. Just a few days after Dawntrail, on July 4th, we have Zenless Zone Zero, the next game from miHoYo, the devs behind Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. Hoyo games. I have a love-hate relationship with these. On one hand, I think these are genuinely some of, if not the best games made for mobile devices. Yes, I know you can play them on PC and consoles, but it's pretty obvious mobile is the target first and foremost, and yeah, they're seriously impressive on a phone. All their games look great, with colorful anime-esque style and very flashy and fluid animations. On top of that, each of their titles offer quite a bit of diversity in their gameplay, with Genshin Impact being an open-world fantasy action RPG, and Honkai Star Rail being a more focused, sci-fi turn-based RPG. My problems with these games come down to the fact that, well, they are still free-to-play mobile games at their core, which means that they've got a whole lot of microtransactions within, and are typically very grindy. Now, I can sort of give a pass to the grindiness of their games, as many free-to-play games usually are, but what really irks me about their games is the use of a gacha system, which is how new characters are distributed to players. Basically, new characters are locked behind essentially slot machines that you use in-game tickets to spin. These tickets can be earned by playing, though they usually require a lot of constant playing and grinding to get a fair amount of them to do enough spins to hopefully get who you want. Alternatively, you could of course use some real-world money to just buy a set amount of tickets and spin the gacha roulette that way. It's a mechanic I've personally never found enjoyable in any game I've tried that has it, but they sting even more in miHoYo games, as unlike a lot of older mobile titles with characters locked behind a gacha system, their games feature fully 3D characters with so much more work done to bring them to fruition, compared to the usual PNGs you'd find in something like Fire Emblem Heroes or Goddess of Victory Nikke. It just sucks because I want to play as their characters and experience and appreciate all the work they put into them, but sadly, the only way you can realistically do that is by either only playing the game and grinding day in and day out for tickets, or of course spending real-world money to get more, and even then it's still all up to chance if you'll actually get what you want, as there's usually a lot of bloat and filler mixed in with the headliner characters for each gacha banner. Being a console and PC player primarily, all of that stuff turns me away from their games pretty quickly. Which is a shame, because outside of those aspects, as I said, Hoyo's games are insanely well made, high quality, and usually very fun in the moment-to-moment gameplay. Like, to me, these games would be so much better if I could just pay a flat fee and get access to all the unique playable characters in the game, rather than having to spend so much time grinding for tickets or shelling out money again and again hoping I get the characters I want to play as. This all leads us to Zenless Zone Zero, or ZZZ, their next game. And I gotta say, this one has been on my radar ever since it was announced. Taking place in a more near-future urban setting and focusing on more action-oriented gameplay, almost like something you'd see from a Platinum Games title. It makes it yet another very different and diverse game compared to MiHoYo's current ones. Aside from the different setting and gameplay, ZZZ also seems to take MiHoYo's already great style and animation to the next level, as this game features some of the most fluid and expressive characters and movement I've seen from a mobile game. It's all looking great, but I know that all the things I dislike about their games will almost certainly be present here, so it's hard to say as of now if I'll stick with this one, or if it'll be another Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail for me, where I try it out at launch and play for a bit longer after that, but fall off once the honeymoon period wears off, and the grindy nature of the game alongside the gacha system just end up ruining it for me. Anyways, despite any gripes I may have with their games, I want to reiterate that MiHoYo is still a very, very talented developer who do put out amazing and fun titles, and ZZZ is looking to be, potentially, their best one yet. Zenless Zone Zero will be releasing on Thursday, July 4th for PS5, PC, iOS, and Android devices. After that pretty packed start to the month, we have to skip ahead quite a bit to get to our next release, which is none other than the Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. So this was randomly surprise announced about a month ago, and it's looking to be a fun little competitive multiplayer game. Basically, this title compiles a bunch of old NES games and injects dozens of challenges into them, asking the player to try and complete said challenges as fast as they can, going for the highest score, and the like. As the name would suggest, it's reminiscent of the challenges players were tasked with completing back during the Nintendo World Championships, which were originally held all the way back in 1990, and again later in 2015 and 2017. But we've seen Nintendo do something similar to this before with NES Remix 1 and 2, but this new release seems to be laser focused on the competition aspect, rather than the more wacky, just for fun challenges and remixes one would find in the remix games. Now, personally, I'm not a competitive person in the slightest, and NES games aren't exactly all too exciting these days, due to their constant re-releases that appeared on Wii, 3DS, and Wii U. So while I for sure will give this a go, I'm more interested in this release for collector purposes, as there is a special collector set that will be releasing alongside the standard digital release, which includes all sorts of cool NWC themed goodies, as well as a physical copy of the game itself, of course. But hey, who knows? Maybe the challenges will end up being more fun and addicting than I'm anticipating, and it'll end up being a game I really get into. We shall have to wait and see. Nintendo World Championships NES Edition will be releasing on Thursday, July 18th, exclusively on Nintendo Switch. And the very next day after NWC NES Edition, we have our last notable release for July, being Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess. We recently saw more of this game at Summer Game Fest, but honestly, this game is still such an oddball to me, and many others I'm sure. Even with multiple trailers out and store pages up, I don't know, this game just feels like it's going completely under the radar. Sure, I'll admit that it does look pretty bizarre and somewhat difficult to tell exactly what it is, or what you really do in the game, but if anything, it being so weird, strange, and different should be exciting. If nothing else, this is a Capcom game, and as I stated before, they've been absolutely killing it with their releases, and I'd be shocked if that streak were to end here with this one. Looking into official descriptions, the game is described as an action strategy game, which does appear to be an accurate description. If I had to compare it to anything, I'd say it kind of reminds me of Pikmin in a way, with how you're still able to move and act in real time while also commanding different units and strategizing alongside the real-time action and combat. Aside from the unique gameplay, the visuals and style of this game are for sure also worth highlighting, as it looks to combine realistic visuals with flourishes and aspects you'd find in traditional Japanese artwork. It's hard to put into words, but this is such an intriguing looking game, and I'm really looking forward to giving it a go. And hey, it'll be on Game Pass day one, so there's really no excuse to at least not give it a try. I'll probably play it there, and if I like it enough, buy a physical copy later down the line, assuming this game is even getting one. I certainly hope so. Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess will be releasing on Friday, July 19th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. And that's that. All the releases I'm looking forward to for July 2024. I told you it was short, didn't I? Once again, while the quantity may be low, I think it's fair to say that, yeah, the quality certainly isn't. Final Fantasy XIV expansions have all been nothing short of fantastic thus far, and I'm sure that trend will continue here with Dawntrail. MiHoYo's games bring console-level quality visuals and gameplay to mobile, and ZZZ is looking to do that once again, now with insanely fast and flashy combo-heavy action. And Nintendo and Capcom are releasing some smaller, quirkier titles this month, with NWC NES Edition and Kunitsugami. For sure some great stuff here, and hell, Dawntrail alone will keep me busy this entire month, alongside my continuing adventures in the DLC for Elden Ring. I hope I was able to bring to your attention some games you may not have known about, or at least entertain you with my yapping about them. With all that being said, I think that'll do it for this video. If you made it to the end, I thank you for watching. Your continued viewership and support is greatly appreciated. Remember to stay cool and hydrated this summer, and as always, I'll see you next time.